Oh, 501. Okay. Welcome to the Woodland Hills City, Utah Community Development Committee meeting. It's October 20th, 2025. It is 5:02 p.m. We have Carrie Malkovich, who is our City Council liaison. We have Lori, member of the committee. We have Brandy, member of the committee. We have Severin, member of the committee. And we have Wayne, who is the chair of the Planning Commission. I think that's oh, and I'm sorry. And on Zoom, we have Daniel. Sorry, I'm having to take notes and conduct today. So we'll call this meeting to order. That's our roll call. And approval of minutes from the previous meeting. Those minutes were sent around shortly after our last meeting. Would anybody like to vote to approve those?
I'll vote to approve them.
Okay, Brandy votes to approve those meeting minutes.
It's basically a motion to approve, just so you know, and
Sorry.
then everybody takes a vote after.
Thank you. Motion to approve. All right,
And a second.
today we're gonna be
And a
just getting
second.
through. Okay, so Brandy motioned to approve, Lori seconded the motion, and then we will take a vote. All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Okay, seeing that all are in favor, the vote passes unanimously. Vote passed. Unanimous. Thank you. Motion to approve was Brandy, and the second was Lori. Oh, good luck to me later following my notes. Okay. Daniel, do you know if Jeremy is planning on hopping on at all?
I don't believe so. I sent him an email very recently, like a couple hours ago, at like a reminder, and I've not heard back. So
That's all right.
my guess is no.
If you could just give us a review of chapter 6, I know that you had reviewed it with him.
Mhm.
Maybe just share about that.
Okay. Well, their study is looking at the trail alignment along Woodland Hills Drive.
On
And-
this, the chapter 6, as you're like talking about it, is that okay?
Yeah. Sorry, cut out. What'd you say? Like,
Share chapter 6 on the screen for us to
Yeah.
look at while you're talking about it.
yes, ma'am. Let's do that.
I would have printed the general plan for everybody, but it's over 70 pages now, so that would
I
have
know.
been substantive for my printer, so I chose not to.
Okay, so the trails, this map right here is consistent with the trails study. The trail study is looking specifically at this section along here and
Okay.
what it would take to put a trail in that area. So right now there's questions as to how much right of way there is, how much land the city would need to purchase or something. Acquire depending on what side of the current road the trail is located or what other alternatives there could be in terms of shifting where the current road is within that right of way. And that's what the trail study is looking at. And I don't know exactly where they're at, but the general plan is staying higher level than that. The general plan doesn't specify that the trail is going to be on the right or the left, or that something or rather is going to occur with how the road is laid out. So the trails plan doesn't show a cross section. This trails element within the general plan doesn't show any cross sections of those roads. It just says that there's a trail study looking at these roads and what type of alignment could occur that would be most cost effective to the city and best for the residents, that sort of thing, right? So he has
Daniel, Carrie had a comment.
I
Yeah.
just have a question. I can't remember, but is the county already looking into that Nebo Beltway Trail, or is that something that we're just looking into, or would it just be we're connecting to their existing possible trail?
Yes, I don't know where the county is at right now. Like I don't know where MAG is at. In here, I know we mentioned phases for a couple of them, but I'm not as plugged
Because
in.
11200 isn't a city street, it's a county road,
right.
and they're going to be expanding it, so they would own the right of way. So I was
That's right.
just, as you were talking about, the city might have to buy right of ways along some of this other potential trails, you know,
Yes.
along the side of the roads, etc. That portion on 11200, we wouldn't
Correct.
need to purchase because it's county right of way.
That is very much correct. Yeah. So the trails study is looking at just this section. Can you see my cursor? That has like the, okay, just this
Yeah.
section right here.
Yeah.
So not coming across right here or anything north of it. It's just right there. But yeah, that's a good point that this is part of a regional effort. That's a county road. That's why it's on MAG plans. And the city is supportive of the county and working toward that goal. So the general plan, as you've noticed, stays pretty general in this trails element. It doesn't outline cross sections or exact timelines or anything like that, other than mention the support for those regional planning efforts, which is pretty typical in a general plan trails element, unless things are already ironed out. Yeah. So anyway, okay, so the element goes through some of the data we got from the public survey, which shows broad support for trails, that people are pretty satisfied, but they would love to see more trails. They like trails. Trails are important, all that good stuff. Then we outline the current trails that we have, which are the little walking trails within the city park. The Nebo Beltway Trail, which we just talked about, that's a long distance regional trail that will connect into more statewide trail systems eventually, hopefully. That's the plan.
Also, just Daniel, another thing that came up, I've had some citizens who live on Sky Lake contact me because our last general plan had trail systems going through their backyard. That where on that far side, a little bit over your cursor over a little bit, but right there, right along there. Well, it's hard for me to show you. So going north of that.
What happened?
Yeah, and so somewhere around there is, it shows on our general plan and it goes through their backyards, and they want to make sure that that is not on the on the current new map.
It did not go through their backyard. It goes next to.
I know, but it's still, there's no trail easement there. There's no trail easement there, and they want to make sure that it's not there. There's some utility easements, but there's no trail easement. And so those individuals want to make sure that that is not on any maps going forward, because people, even if we put it in a general plan as an potential idea, people put it right on all trails. And they've had people in their backyard saying, well, I found this on all trails. Well, it's not a trail. And so I want to make sure that I have voiced their concerns with that. But it's basically this whole, for us, it's on that right-hand side of your map from
Is it this right here?
No, it's further up.
So what's the name
It's
of
not
it?
it's not in blue right now. It's just a regular, it's just showing the regular, and I don't have a way to point it to you, but see where it says Switchback Trail, then go up, and you can see where there's that kind of hairpin turn, and then that road that kind of comes down.
What's the name of the road again?
Sky Lake.
Sky Lake. I'm looking at a map on my other screen. Sky Lake Road.
Yeah, Sky Lake Drive. And they just want to make sure that that doesn't pop up because that all trails puts it on. And I don't think you had it on, but the old one did, and they just wanted me to make sure to let you know.
Gotcha. So that's all the way up here.
That whole space all the way to the end.
Okay. Yeah, and that is not on here at all.
Right.
That's not
I just wanted to clarify that publicly so that they know when they rewatch this that I voiced their concerns.
Okay, great.
As this map stands, it seems we're good. So,
Yep.
great.
Okay, so the plan right now, the element right now talks about the city parks, the Nebo Beltway Trail, and some of the regional plans, give some context to that. The Woodland City Trail, and as you can see, I didn't put much information in here at all because the study is going to outline that, and this just points to the study. It says the study emphasizes pointing everyone to the study. Then the Switchback Trail, since that is the one public hiking trail that's in town, and there is information available. It's an existing trail, and then there's the PTR committee that looks at that trail. I did put more information here to provide some context and something to work toward. We talked about, like, do we have a separate little trails plan? That'd be outside of the RFP, but since there's just one trail, it doesn't really make sense. So some of the things that you typically would see in a trails plan are in here, just because you don't create a trails plan when you have one hiking trail. If you had several hiking trails, I would suggest a separate trails plan that goes into things like the trail tread or there aren't a lot of specifics in here, but some of those specifics. So hopefully all the specific information in here is correct. I've worked with Ted and the committee to make sure that this reflects accurately the city's understanding of what has been authorized, with that trail tread being 50 inches, with the water bars that were put in there to help reduce runoff and flow down the trail. Maintenance, it's pretty general. It just is like, hey, we need to maintain trails, and the PTR should come up with a way to maintain the trails. There's not a lot of specifics, so it's not like telling the city what to do, just that, hey, maintenance is important, and PTR should come up with some way to work with the city and the community to do maintenance on it. Otherwise, it gets prohibitively expensive if deferred maintenance mounts. Yeah, and hazards, those are being addressed. You have the avalanche signs up there already. It just kind of calls it out that it goes past an avalanche area. And that's really about it for the trails portion. And then with parks, there's the one public park. We didn't talk about any private HOA amenities, but yeah, it talks about the public park and some of the things that people would like to see, and then the goals. And we reviewed the goals very thoroughly with the PTR committee, and these were their recommendations. So that's about it.
Again, what were Jeremy's, did you review this with him?
Yes.
Was that part of the PTR meeting, or was that separate?
That was separate. Yeah, he did not attend the PTR meeting. But let's see, we have for Jeremy's, that was just goal 1, and he did review those goals, and he said they were correct. He may have had like one edit that I put in here. No, I think he said that it was all accurate as is. But whatever it is, yes, I reviewed it with him. I sent it to him, he reviewed it, he provided comments.
Perfect, good. Was there any other discussion points that you had, Carrie? You said you had resident input, particularly on trails, was that it?
Yeah, that was mostly is just making sure, because there are very few places in town that we have trail easements. I mean, it's on the plat on the places we do, but everywhere else that I don't want to show a potential trail when we have not yet bought the easement, but the proposed trails that they're doing the study on is different, because that's also been a public process that will come into play, because that's just a study. Nothing has been done yet. And so I think that people just want to know, they love the trail, but they don't want trails necessarily in their backyard. They want them on the front, and they want to know that they have an easement, not just randomly picking and choosing.
Is that more than one person, Carrie?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
We only heard from one.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
and she was very adamant that
Yeah. Yeah, there's,
We heard it from when we had the meeting.
yeah,
To
yeah.
discuss the old general plan.
And we've been talking about it pretty well every year since the last general plan for anybody who still lives on that street. Because I've been telling them, no, there's no trail there. We're not doing it. Kind of escalated after the fires when we had some fire breaks back there and they had put it wasn't a trail, it was the protection line that the big bulldozers came in and did around our city, and people thought, okay, they're turning it into a trail now. No, and they restored that and put up some brakes so that it wasn't. But people just get worried easily when, and fearful of people who are walking around in the woods at night, right? And they want to make sure that they're safe, and that's one that's right up next to where the mountain goes up. And so we get a lot of hunters that come down through there, and then they'll just walk into the street and you see them walking right past your house with their guns and everything, which is fine because we know they're hunters, but they're still going on private property, right? So if a lot of people are walking as a trail, when there's no trail there and no easement, it bothers people that they feel like they have to be the ones that say, no, this isn't a trail, over and over and over again. You know it's a trail, or you know that you're built by a trail or you're built by a park, your mindset is different than if you think that you're secluded.
Okay. Any other comments? For chapter 6?
Question.
Go ahead.
I was unclear as to any reach out to the county to find out if there's any plan about a trail along 11200, particularly connecting Whittle Hills Drive with Summit Creek. Is that in their master plan with the roads along there? Or is that something that nothing has been done and we need to realize that, and maybe the city needs to make contact with the county? But I was wondering if Daniel had made any contact with the county to try to find out any more information, if there's any plans for a connecting trail along 11200, particularly connecting our two main arteries down to it.
He said it was called the Nebo Beltway and that it is MAG's plan to do that. And it's connecting over to Elk Ridge, Salem, Payson on that side. And then it's just continuing down Woodland Hills Drive. It appears on the map right there. It would keep going. Oh, back down right there. And see, so the Nebo Beltway Trail, and then it would go down. But I assume that once also Larry Myler puts in his trail system, somewhere at that intersection, it will connect in there as well. Because he has said multiple times that he wants his trails connected to the county trails.
Ted said that he thought that the trail would be on both sides of 11,200. That originally was planned on the north side, but they were thinking of doing it on the south side as well, which seems really.
Because it's going to be a really wide
Yeah.
road. They kind of did that, if you notice when they did the Loafer Parkway at the intersection of the Salem Canal Road. They have a parking lot there now. It's a trailhead right across from the school.
Yeah,
And it's on both sides of the road. The trail's on both sides.
I haven't noticed it on both sides. Does it just cross? Or
And they
it's
have
on both
and they have
sides?
an underground tunnel on one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it sounds like it's in the plans. Maybe we don't exactly have announced dates or whatnot for us to put in a definitive document.
Correct.
All right, any other questions?
I have one concern about the maintenance of the switchbacks. It sounds a little bit like we're directing the city council to do something, where maybe we ought to encourage the city council to do a maintenance review rather than for them. It said the city should periodically review and update the management schedule.
The city is encouraged. Is that what you'd rather it say? The city is encouraged to periodically review?
We should periodically review.
But shouldn't they
update. It's
review it
maybe-
anyways?
Yeah.
I mean, you should, because if no one does it because it's just encouraged, then it may not get maintained, it may not be getting.
Yeah,
getting
and I
taken
think
care
that's
of.
part of the,
I think this is the problem. You know, it's the city council's responsibility.
Mhm,
We directing the city council to do it, that's not what a general plan's for.
right. I think that it is in the operating agreement of the Parks and Trails Committee to do the maintenance of the Switchback Trail right now. If I remember correctly, that's part of their, like, we had to put a little statement out that said, this is what this committee is gonna do. Finance does that, and Parks and Trails. And I believe that the maintenance of the trails is in their little statement of who they are, but we can double check that. All right. And it's also part of Public Works. So it might be under the direction of Public Works to that committee. But
So
I'll
maybe
check.
rather than putting the city council, we put the committee that actually should be reviewing it.
It doesn't say the city council, it just says the city should.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, yeah.
It just says
So-
the city, so the city is pretty broad when it says the city.
Yes,
It could be the council, the council approves the budget, but the council doesn't oversee the Parks and Trails Committee or the Public Works. The mayor oversees Public Works, we approve the budget. And then Public Works works with Parks and Trails, and then we have council people who are the liaison with Parks and Trails. And they kind of give direction.
Can we just say, Daniel, a periodic review and update of a maintenance schedule and needs of the trail? Or, let me think. I'm trying to just think about how to just take it out, that it just is something that needs to be done.
I think
Right.
PTR is fine with this because they know that that's their responsibility. So when they see this and say the city should periodically review, they say, yep, and we're responsible to do that.
yeah.
Because it is under the direction of the Public Works, who's over any public land. That's their responsibility of public land, just like the park, right? But we have other people who mow the grass. We have other
Yeah.
people who do other things. It's not that our Public Works Director has to do that.
Mhm.
It's assigned out.
Yeah, and we left it pretty broad, as you can see. It doesn't say exactly when to review or what needs to be included or exactly who. It just says the city should, at some point, periodically, right, review and update its maintenance. And PTR was good with that. But it was intentionally left pretty broad.
And currently as long as Sherry's there, they're maintaining it a few times a year.
They've got a little budget.
We've given them a budget to do it, so, but, yeah.
Another question I wondered about, Three Bridges has expressed interest in allowing us to use their trails once they're in. Now, we may be talking, years down the road, but I'm wondering if it's worth a conversation with them to kind of express our interest in doing that. I don't know what expectations they would have of our city to help maintain those trails or not. There may be an easement that they would be required to get also, or maybe us, to get from their trail property to our switchbacks. But that's been talked about, and maybe it's too premature to put it into a general plan. I kind of leave that up to you all, what you felt about it, since it is years in the future. But just make you all aware of that, those casual discussions that we've had.
Yeah. The hard part for me with that is technically it's a different city.
Not all of it.
Not all of it, but a large part of it. And this developer, there's still a lot in the air. He could be saying or promising things that aren't concrete yet. So I'm afraid to put something in a general plan now when some of that could change. And these sounds like just conversations, like maybe he's presented to the council and stuff, or just like verbally expressed
It's conversation,
interest.
it's nothing in writing.
So I'm hesitant to put something in this that's, maybe he's not 100, I don't know. Thoughts?
Well, I think it is something that would probably need to be discussed. Like I said, they don't have a trail plan to show at all of where it would be. We haven't even decided for sure that they're going to use that roundabout. It's as access to them, it's looking more likely that it is. And so as we see the county's plan coming to that intersection and which side of the road it's going to be on, and if that road is extended past the roundabout, I mean, there's a lot of and ifs, right?
I think that's gonna happen.
And that, yeah, and
It's
so,
decided.
so we have to get to the point of,
Can we
okay,
just go off of point 4, explore new opportunities for trail connections through new growth areas and that kind of, maybe?
Yeah, maybe that,
Mhm.
I'm just
That
afraid to
was-
call it out too directly.
That was PTR suggestion, so 4 was added specifically because of this conversation.
All right, that makes sense.
Great.
Because it doesn't necessarily have to be new growth in our own city. It could be new growth within our city or in other, other municipalities or county by us. Is that is the intent of the state's trail system, is that every city will connect to the next city with a trail.
I think that'd be a good place for it.
Okay. Okay, any other discussion on chapter 6? Awesome. Daniel, could you pull up, is this the entire thing all put together? This isn't just chapter 6?
Yes, it's
Okay. Well, I may have you fly around and look at a couple of different sections while you have it on the screen for us.
okay.
Is it, I noticed in the document you sent us today, chapter 6 wasn't in there. So I just wanted to,
Right,
There
that was
a
one that we
second-
needed to review.
Second
Yep.
attachment had
Mhm.
6. This
Sorry.
attachment had 6 in it.
on the same,
There
Yeah,
was,
Same email.
it doesn't show up in mine.
there was one that was like a Google link.
Oh, I see.
actually am not positive. Did that one have 6 in it, Daniel? Because he also sent 6 on a separate email. There's been a few,
Right.
but
Well, I got it.
I can't recall because I've had to divide the document up because it's too large.
yeah,
So
and I wasn't paying
I've
close
been-
enough.
I've been
That's
working
what I
on
can't remember either.
part 1, which is 1 through 5, and then part 2, which is 6 through 10. That's
Okay.
all.
Okay, 1 through 5 is what
That's
was
the way I
attached.
got it,
Okay.
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 just like Daniel said.
Okay, I'm not gonna go over wording stuff. So for today, what I would like to see is most of this we have voted on as a committee up to this point in sections. There have been discussions with other committees, there has been the input from the residents, there's been lots of discussion leading up to this point, so we can review some of the concerns that have come from Wayne with the Planning Commission, knowing this is headed there next, and decide if we want to amend anything. But at this point, I would like us to, even if we vote on an amendment, to move this forward with a final vote, okay? So we can approve it as amended based on what we voted on in this meeting. Or if we decide that there are no amendments and we will just leave it to the Planning Commission to amend what they see fit, then we do that as well, okay? So, but the goal is that by the end of this meeting, we have a plan to present to the council, whether it's, again, whether we amend some portions of it or not, okay?
Can I add something?
Yes,
We're going to want what we feel is a finished document. I'm not gonna accept a plan that those suggestions that I made for changes are not included in that.
It doesn't make sense to me that we would vote as a council on suggestions that you guys should be discussing as a council.
We will discuss this, and there'll be other changes. But I want this to come to the planning commission, including those changes that I've asked you to make.
Why?
As we present this to the council, they're
Right, but
very
what
likely gonna
you'll,
have further changes.
and I don't want that process to be rushed, right? I think your committee should take time to make the adjustments that you guys vote on and see
And we
fit.
will.
Right.
But I want this document to come to us with the changes that I've asked included and done.
Well, I can't force them to vote the way you want. That's the problem. That's why I'd like them to just vote the way they see fit, and then we pass it to you and your committee to then vote.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
I can see this. way.
I understand,
I'm
you
telling you
can, you
now.
can make your edits,
So
and that's
we
fair.
won't- I won't take the document for the planning commission to review unless the changes that I've suggested are made to it.
Okay, let me.
How is that allowed?
Just a minute. So I think that what the purpose of this committee is to go through and put something together from what the committee wants to say and do, and give that document to you. And then the planning commission can edit it how it wants. The council can get both documents and say, oh yeah, here we are, the committee development committee wanted this, the planning commission wanted this. Oh, we're gonna redline a bunch of stuff and change it together. But I think that it is important to have the autonomy, otherwise, why would we have this committee to give their input? I think it's really important that this committee feels the autonomy to be able to choose what it puts in this final document as far as what the committee's responsibility is. Now, they've taken input from you, they've taken it from me, they've taken it from Severin. We don't get a vote, they do. And so I think it's important that we maintain that.
He gets
Yes,
to
you
vote.
do. I forget you do. But take that, that vote for what it is, as the committee's put a lot of work into here. And they've taken what Parks and Trails have said, they've taken what Ted has said, they've taken what some of us have said, some of your comments, some of my comments. But ultimately, it's the committee who sends it forward, and then the planning commission will then take it, which a couple of members are on here and can help explain it to the rest of them. Okay, this is where we want a red line. Then the council can take it and say, here's the recommendations from these two separate entities who were tasked with different things to do. What do we want to do? And where's our final vote going to be? I would like it to show, I actually would rather have a separate document if it's needed that showcases really the work that's gone into this at the committee level. That's my viewpoint on it, because then I know that those of you who have spent so much time on this, that's taken and validated. And then also then separately, the planning commission's validation of why they would like to see things changed a little bit differently, because then that gives some perspective.
No, I think I'd agree. I like the idea of the committee draft, planning commission draft, redlined. And that way we can kind of see what all the contributions are.
What I'm worried is your version of a finished product is what Wayne wants, not maybe what the committee wants.
And
So
the
I want
planning
their,
commission Can decide that.
right, and so when it gets to you, right, so let
I-
them make.
I've taken time to review this
Absolutely.
before it's got to the planning commission. And this isn't taking away from all the work. I know, you can see here all the work that's been put into it.
Right,
Some of the things I've corrected are errors in
right,
here,
and it's,
not correct.
right, it's great.
all right? And I don't want
And there's some
us
of those
having to
that have
spend
already
the
been
time.
updated, right, but some
But
of the
there-
goals and
there's-
things, let's, cause we have
You're
time,
functioning,
we have
there's
time.
nothing that says you have to vote on these amendments. You're functioning as an arm of the planning commission
Okay.
in what you're doing. And it's up to the planning commission to accept that or not. Now, if
Right.
the city wants a different version of it, they can certainly ask for it. But I'm asking you now to make my changes before it comes to the planning commission.
When it comes to the goals, I'm gonna let them vote on where they see fit on the goals. The grammar and some of those other things, absolutely. A lot of those edits have already been made. When it comes to the goals and some of those frameworks, I'm not gonna tell them how they should vote. And so that's where it needs to come to you to then amend and vote, okay?
So
And
you're saying make sure the errors are fixed.
They don't know the errors from the correct ones, because I didn't say this is an error, this is an error. I just said, these are the corrections that I'd like to have made before it comes to us. And I stand by that. If those corrections, I disagree, respectfully disagree with Carrie and Ben, possibly with their philosophy and the way that they would like to handle it. This is a planning commission document,
When,
and
which will
it
get
needs
to
to
you,
come
it will.
with those, initially with the changes that I've requested. So that's my position.
I feel, okay, well,
So,
I don't,
we're gonna present it the way that it's voted.
well, that's
I know.
fine, but I won't accept it.
and I
Well,
don't,
then that's between you and the
guess-
city council and
Well, you're operating as an arm for us. for the
I'm on
planning
my own
commission.
committee.
You're not operating
No.
for the city council.
We have it, we have a
I think they
liaison.
are.
and-
they are, they all city,
You're operating for the plan, what this document is, you've prepared it, not for the council, but for the planning commission.
You are a step to getting to the council, correct?
And the planning commission has a responsibility then to present it to the council. Not your
Absolutely,
committee,
absolutely.
but the planning commission.
I'm not arguing
So
with you.
this
about
is a previous stage to the planning commission review of the entire document. I've gone through this as the chairman and looked at these changes that I felt are important to make. It will simplify our work and lessen the time that we have to spend on correcting as a commission the same things that I've set forth to you to be corrected.
Okay,
I think too, though, I mean, Wayne, with all due respect, the council is the one that formed this committee, who authorized this committee. When we received the grant money, it was to update the general plan and to do a strategic plan. The committee is under the council. And with that, are responsible to the
Our
council.
responsibility
part
as
of
the
it
planning
is-
commission
Right,
is for the general plan.
right. So let me finish
So
here.
that's where the responsibility
But the
lies.
council
I don't think
is
we're
responsible
disagreeing
for
with
the
that.
committee, and they're doing their job as prescribed by the conditions of the grant, and have had a certain part of that responsibility. Their responsibility is to hand it to you, to make those necessary corrections however you want, and then to be brought to us. But when it comes to the council, if we want to hear from the committee themselves, we can request that.
Sure.
We will hear from the planning commission, we can request to hear from the committee as well. It's not that they are under you, they are a separate entity. It's just like when we do finance committee. We take their input, but it's the finance director who comes to us with saying, hey, this is what the finance committee has suggested. Parks and Trails goes through Public Works. That's when Ted comes and says, this is what they would like to do. It's the same kind of thing, is that they're not over it. This committee isn't over the general plan. You're absolutely correct. It's the general plan. I've been on the committee to rewrite the general plan 2 or 3 times since, the last 35, 40 years I've lived here. So I understand the process, but I also think that part of this was to have that autonomy to be able to go forward with the help of Daniel, to get to where we are, to look out to all the stakeholders, which I think they have, you being one of those stakeholders. But I don't think that they're beholden to only make the document that you want, otherwise you won't even look at it. That seems a little bit out of
I
line.
don't follow you with that statement, Carrie.
because they need to be able to vote on what they have put into place. Now, if I said, I will not see it as a city council if you do not change this part of it, and it's just demanding it, that's not right. And I think that's the way they
Council
feel.
will do that with us, and we're fine
No,
with
but
it.
we're not gonna say, don't give it to us if it's not exactly what we want. We're gonna take it from you on whatever way you want, and then we'll change it if we want. We're not demanding you change it to what we want prior to you giving it to
Here
us.
you have. You have
So-
sent it back to us saying, you've got to change this. You have been directive in nature to the planning commission before.
On things, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying that
You
we're
didn't
not
make the
asking it.
changes, you made us make the changes.
We're not saying that we will not accept anything unless it comes to us with what we want beforehand. You have to get a document so that there's a foundation to make the changes with. And that might be for a lot of different reasons. You know, you might have different reasons for changing something than this committee has decided based on all of what they have done. We as a council might look at it and say, oh, well, I can see where they've done this. We can go back, we can watch all the videos if we need to find out more information of why decisions were made. We can do the same with planning commission. Or we can just read the documents and say, oh, yeah, that sounds really good. People have put a lot of work into here. I can see where the difference is, but I guess just because I've been with this since the start, I really want the committee to be able to feel that they can vote on what they choose to vote on. And then planning commission can choose to vote on what they want. Now, probably a lot of what we've all said is in the documents. A lot of the changes, Ted's changes, PTR's changes, your changes, some what I've put in. There's changes that have been made along the way. But if it's already going to be only voted on if it's a complete document, then there's no reason for the process. And the process is so that it comes here, comes to planning commission, comes to council. And all three may or may not have changes.
Daniel, how does it usually work? I mean, you do this all the time. What is the process usually in cities?
Yeah, so this committee would make a recommendation. A lot of times planning commission wouldn't have even seen the document until it goes to the planning commission. Sometimes they're involved, but I don't get edits from planning commission members until it's in front of planning commission. And I don't get edits from city council members until it's in front of city council. And it's always the planning commission, so, or the city council. So it's not going to be one city council member that demands edits or one planning commissioner that demands edits. It's going to be a batch. We're going to take all of the comments from all the planning commission members, and the planning commission is going to work on that as a body, right? And the same for city council. So, and maybe there is a split where you have 2 or 3 council members who feel one way or 2 or 3 who feel a different way, and we can create 2 different versions or however they want to do it, and then the city council can vote on which one they approve, right? But it's always working as that body together. If that
I'm
makes
not
sense.
sure I understand the hesitancy for the committee to accept some changes now and more changes later. If I think we're all in agreement that ultimately you're gonna make the changes that the planning commission wants you to make. Nothing will be left in that document that the planning commission objects to.
Correct.
So why not make some changes now to facilitate the planning commission review? We'll have less to review. We can do it more quickly with having made some of these corrections now.
And that's because the planning commission hasn't started their review. The whole planning commission hasn't seen the document. You're not in a planning commission meeting. And so that will great. I'm not going to make planning commission changes until the planning commission has reviewed it and the planning commission as a body. tells
That's
us what
not
to
your
do.
call, respectfully, Daniel, to make.
No, that is my call as a professional
Okay.
consultant. Yes.
My turn.
Yeah.
He is working with our committee. I am the chair of this committee. The council has put this committee into place. Any votes that are taken are under their names and recorded under their names. They are accountable to the residents as volunteers in this city for the votes that they've made. I want them to be able to feel that they agree with what they voted on. So that is why they're going to vote as they see fit, not the way that you see fit. And then that's when it comes to you and your commission to then vote and have it recorded and to have to defend it to the residents and the council. So it's then recorded under your name. To me, that's the proper procedure, rather than I received an email and I wasn't publicly recorded and transparent, and then the goal disappeared and there's no record of it, right? So I would prefer for transparency and record keeping that we're doing this in an order. Does that feel like that makes sense of like why there's hesitancy for us to just change what you want now, rather than presenting it to you so that then these things are then recorded, like this is what the planning commission want, and I support it. I support that you're gonna make these edits, and it needs to go to the council from you. We're not arguing about that. It's just procedure, I think, where we disagree.
Well, you go ahead with what you're going to do and we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Okay,
There are though, Kirsten, there are problems with this general plan that are just flat out wrong. There
okay.
are things in here that we need to correct.
Would you like to address them now, or do you
I'll
want to?
be happy to, anytime you want me to.
This is the
Okay.
time.
I'm on page 52. No, that's not, on page 25, where it talks about the PUD. In the general plan, it says a PUD can only be 50 acres. And that simply is not true. There is a provision in the PUD that in two plots, A and B, they can be 5 acres. So that is technically not correct.
Okay, Daniel,
Yeah, is that,
issue with that?
if that's correct, we'll change it to be correct.
That's page 23 on the online document.
It's
Is it this right here?
an older version.
The first half.
Yeah, right there.
So it should say how many acres?
Page 25 on the first half.
Okay.
It's in chapter 3, land use.
So instead of 50, it should say what?
That's correct, but there is also an exception in the ordinance that says in plot A and B of the city, it can be as small as 5 acres.
For a PUD?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's actually, chapter 10, 4B2.
Sorry, I couldn't hear that. What was that?
10-10A 4.B.2.
10-10A dot 4B,
4.B.2.
4.B dot 10.2, I think.
B.2. Another 10 in there. So that's one.
Okay,
Page 7. Last time I checked, we're not the steering committee.
okay.
And so we ought to say, I mean, I'm assuming, Daniel, that you meant this group when you said steering committee. So we probably ought to say the community development committee.
What page are we talking
Yeah,
about?
where are we
This is
talking?
page 5. No,
Right here.
sorry.
Right here.
Page 7.
Staff. Yeah, what's the exact name? Community Development Committee?
Yes.
Great edit.
Okay.
On page 6, I just have a question on that. It talks about the I-City. What is I-City?
Oh, oops. That's
that
a
just-
typo.
This is the
Okay.
type.
All right.
Good catch. This is why the more eyes are better.
Page 5, paren 1. I don't find the strategic plan anywhere in here.
Hasn't
Or
been written
reference
yet.
it in this document.
It's going to be, it hasn't been completed yet. We wanted to do the general plan
It's
first.
mentioned a
and
few
then-
times throughout the document. We will be doing it. It's not been started. I don't know.
Okay, I
So
just,
it's not gonna be incorporated as into the general plan, it's gonna be a separate.
It's a separate document. Yeah,
Okay.
yep, it's a separate document.
So again, to Severin's point, it really shouldn't be referenced in here. There is no strategic plan, so, and I know there's a couple of places that I looked at where it made reference to a strategic plan, so those should be removed from this document.
Daniel, is that usually the case
Doing
in,
it though?
when, because a lot of cities have
part of the
strategic plans
project.
and general plans, so is it, I mean, they are two separate documents, but can they not each reference each other?
Yeah, they should reference each other. It's really common when you know you're doing like a sewer master plan, but you haven't done it yet. In the general plan, you're still going to say it needs to follow the sewer master plan, even if that plan is really outdated or hasn't been, adopted yet. So that's pretty normal. We
What are
could,
your reservations with referring
I
to it
don't
if
know
it's
what
not
the
drafted
strategic
yet?
plan says or going to say. And I'm not going to, my objection is to include it here, when we have no idea what it's gonna say.
Can we, because we haven't done it yet, can we make sure that it covers the things that it's referencing in the general plan?
Well, the general plan could always be updated at a later time if there's elements of the strategic plan that should be incorporated into it. But I have no idea of that, and I have reservations about referencing it when we don't even know what it's going to say or what it is. We would have, if we had it, would have some possible objections to it, incorporating in here if we didn't feel that it was germane. So I'd rather not have a reference to it at this stage. If it's not going to be incorporated into the general plan, the standalone plan, that's fine.
I can see what Daniel was saying about them both referencing it. It's not as if the strategic plan will change the general plan or vice versa. It's that one is long-term goals, one's short-term goals, and by each of them referencing the other, it makes you look at the other, but it doesn't necessarily change it. In my mind, it's they're complementary. They should be complementary, and we don't want to, I mean, the whole purpose was to have these two documents showing both the short and long term, and by referencing it doesn't necessarily approve or not approve. The council will eventually approve the general plan and eventually approve the strategic plan. So by the end of it all, they'll both be approved documents for the
Can
city.
they get approved separately or?
Separately.
finally Together?
Nope, separately. They're two separate documents.
Daniel, how long do you feel that it will take to make that strategic plan? Finish it? Well, to present, whether we're finishing it.
that's a really good question. That's going to really depend on the city. The strategic plan is a lot more of your implementation metric. Implementation metrics where the council decides on what their priorities are. And so the council could spend a while talking about that and figuring out exactly what they want to do and when, or they could pass it relatively quickly. But unlike the general plan, like the general plan is a longer document that goes into a lot of things. The strategic plan is more, okay, what are our actual priorities over the next few years? Which of these things we talk about in the general plan do we want to start implementing? How do we want to go about implementing them? Who's doing them? The council can determine how granular they want it to be. Yeah, so that's really just going to depend. It's going to, really depend on those discussions.
Well, my understanding was it was a hand in glove type situation with the two plans, and we don't have a strategic plan. If we had a longer time period, I can see advantages to having the strategic plan merged with the general plan. Because the strategic plan gives you, like you said, the detail to get you to the general plan to make sure that the goals that you're implementing in the general plan, they're part of the strategic plan. And I really don't know, although, I mean, I don't understand how you can separate the two. They're gonna have to be merged at some point, in order to each plan to be effective in its own right. So, but you're talking about doing it later, and that's fine.
I mean, by later, I think it just means like, we're getting this done today and
I
then
think
that
in
maybe starts.
4, 6 months,
Yeah, maybe.
it's gonna take.
Right.
I think they are complementary plans in place. General plan has specific things by state statute that we have to include. And then we put it into place for our community. The general plan has its specific purposes in that role, that every city has to have one. The strategic plan has a different role, but it's complementary to the general plan. So it never truly merges as part of the general plan because the statute isn't there for that to happen. It's a standalone document, but complementary to say, okay, council, you have chosen to make these of the top priorities of all of the general plan. Because there's some things in the general plan that are great ideas that may come to fruition sometime between now and the next one. But these are the ones we want to make at the forefront, and that's what the strategic plan does. So although it's using the elements of the general plan can't be that specific. The general plan has to stay broad. But the strategic plan can be more specific, and that's why it has to be separate. But like I said, complementary and used one without the, you don't use one without the other.
Well, other cities have merged them, but
Some
we can
do,
choose to
yeah.
do what we want.
I have another question for Daniel. When we were talking, this is on page 28, talking about earthquake fault zones. And in there you've got a box of best practices. And one of them, the second one is aim for a 50 to 100-foot setback along fault lines.
Oh, that's page 26 on the online version.
Well, it's on 25. Oh, mine says 28.
Yeah,
28.
it's 26, but.
I got
that's
on
okay.
28 on a previous version.
Yeah, this is the one that came today, or, so I'm just looking at that one.
Anyway, I just want to understand where that best practice came from. I mean, where our fault lines are. I mean, there are houses already built there, and we're now saying we're going to have a setback 50 to 100 feet. That's a pretty wide setback.
Yeah, so that's just a best practice from USGS. It doesn't mean that you have that or that you need to have that. It's just something that's a best practice to aim for. It doesn't mean it's unique, that's something you have to do in every circumstance or that it's in your code. It's just a best practice. Something available online. We could put a citation if that's helpful, but I don't know.
Well, and we could put that, the citation in there so that it just shows that you're looking at what has been said by the subject experts, right?
Mhm.
I like that.
Well, refer to the information coming from the US Geological, survey or whatever.
Yeah,
So that it's not just pulled out of the sky or
yeah.
sounds like a good figure. There's some substance to where the figure came from.
And I think the only thing we have in the ordinances is that if they're close to a fault line, they have to do a geotech survey.
Yep.
Correct.
And I don't remember that there are any setbacks in the ordinances right now.
No, there aren't any, and we're looking to change that.
Okay, I know there are other
And that was
cities.
one of the things that knowing where we're going with some of the ordinances, that'll come out.
And there are some cities I know that have setbacks from fault lines. You have to do a geotech survey, but then they have certain setbacks from the fault line after you've done the survey, but they're nowhere near that.
Yeah, and that'll be up to, the engineers who are doing that study to make that determination
So
in their report.
Daniel, are all those best practices taken from the same source?
I believe,
I mean, maybe double check it, and
sure.
if all the best practices are taken from that source, then we can cite that and
Mhm.
put a link in that spot so that people would know where those came from, because I agree with Wayne that we don't want it appear that we just pulled them out of the sky.
Yeah, I think
Um,
that's,
Want to make sure that if people question it, they can go to that's best practices based on.
yeah, that's great.
Because we have that under zoning and land use tools, you say see Utah Code 10-9A-505, just on that part. So something similar on that other side for best practices.
One other comment, question. On my page 52, which is we're talking about roads, and in there we say collector roads are Woodland Hills Drive and 11200 North. But on the map, we call Woodland Hills Drive South a minor collective road, I think.
Till it gets to the intersection.
And then down below it, it's just a collector road. But in there, it says it's state maintained. Well, Woodland Hills Drive South is not state maintained. We have to maintain it ourselves.
Where does
Oh,
it say?
The north one is county maintained. Where it
Yes,
says north, that's that, at that intersection, that's where the county roads, the ones in purple, are the county collector roads that county maintains.
So we really should say county maintained, not state maintained.
yeah, where is
It
this?
does say, mine says Utah County determines, oh, it doesn't say, okay.
In the verbiage.
said these roads are state roads.
Where is that?
On mine, it says,
It's under collector road caption.
Streets classified as collectors such as Woodland Hills Drive and 11200 South are those carrying traffic from local streets.
Oh,
in
both of the
their
collector roads are state
Right
roads.
here.
Summit Creek Drive is also a collector road.
minor collector. And we have the two.
So maybe what we ought to just do is define it maybe more accurately that South Woodland Hills Drive is a minor collector road, North Woodland Hills Drive is a collector road, 11200 is a collector road, Summit Drive is a minor collector road.
So sorry, first of all, so this is where we're talking, right? Collector Road. This was incorrect. That's because I pulled it from an old map before. So I had that language in there when we had our old map, which I pulled from UGRC. And then Ted told me that this was the correct map right here. But
That map is correct, although it doesn't show Summit Creek Drive similar to Woodland Hills Drive South as being a minor collector, and it is.
Okay, I will run that by Ted just to make sure, but you're saying Summit Creek Drive.
Is a minor collector.
And Woodland Hills Drive South, just put them both together.
Well, it shows Woodland Hills South as a minor collector because it's in
So
yellow.
he'll just bullet.
But see,
Summit
the
Creek after it.
northern one's in purple, so that's a major collector. You can barely see it on there.
Which one's in? This
So
one down here?
no, we're just talking about Summit Creek Drive is a minor, and then where you have Woodland Hills Drive, the north, it has the little purple line showing that it is a major collector, and then Woodland Hills South is a minor collector. That's
Yeah.
where it goes from county owned to city owned, is at that intersection.
That's correct. And
So
that's
that's correct.
And that's addressed down here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So everything here is correct, except I'll confirm with Ted, not that I don't trust you guys, but I want to make sure he's involved since he had given this to me. But just to add Summit Creek Drive as a minor collector. So that's the only change. Right. Okay. And that language above, right here. So maintained by Utah County,
Yep.
county roads. Okay.
Wayne, when we did the open house for the 2017, did Mag run that? I thought we ran it.
Oh.
We did, but Mag was part of that too.
I mean, I remember I was the one that actually took all of the responses from the individuals and categorized them. Mag didn't even have anything to do with that part.
Like a survey? You
The
did, you
survey.
did the survey?
Yeah, yeah. And I broke all the responses down into different categories. So what it says on page 3 was that Mag held the open house, and it kind of leaves the planning commission out.
So
And I
you
think
want that, well,
technically
that's
we
important,
were-
because if it wasn't
we were
Mag,
more of a part of that open house.
and it wasn't a third
than
party.
Mag was.
What was your position? You were planning commission at the time?
Yeah,
So the city planning commission collected the survey. That's a big difference. Because you guys are residents. And you're handling all of that.
And we've always
Data
done
as
it with,
residents.
because MAG has the hired planners that we don't have city staff that are, you know, what would be traditionally trained planners. So MAG has always assisted the city. So I think that's basically what Wayne was saying. They assist because they do kind of what Daniel's been doing for us, but on a smaller scale because they're not being paid by us. So they kind of oversee, but they let the planning commission do the legwork. And then they make sure that when you've put it together, it actually is according to what is required by the state.
They had access to a lot of the charts too, and statistical data that went into the plan with their own research that they did, and so it was a joint effort.
yeah, it was joint. I think I've done it. I think those are all my comments.
I have some questions on the second half.
Great.
Can we pull that up?
Yeah. Daniel, when you're done with that comment, Laura, you tell them where to go.
Okay, so on the second half, it says page 97, printed at the bottom, but it's like page 35 in the.
He's got his all in one. Oh, no, he does have them in two parts. Never mind.
Okay, yeah, sewer. So it says that sewer is available in the lower elevations, and the higher elevations are septic. I don't know if that's true, because it has a
No,
map,
it's not true anymore.
and it shows the high part has sewer.
There's some on the lower, because
Maybe it should
any
be
of the
old
new
and new.
development that would happen along 11200 would be sewer, because the churches are both on sewer, so any of that
So
would
I
be
think
connected.
it should
But the
be-
newer stuff up above is also on
Yeah, I
sewer.
would just change it to the newer has sewer and the older sections, not
No, but that's not
upper and
true.
lower. higher
So when
and
they
lower.
say, yeah, newer development,
There are some
Well, we
houses
do have a new house that will
in-
pop up here and there in an old section.
right?
in Thousand Oaks, houses in Thousand Oaks that are on sewer.
But I don't think we should say higher and lower.
Yeah,
Look at the map.
It's
that's
more
right
older
there.
and newer.
Or east and west almost.
yeah, because it is, the newer people are required by the county almost now, because as long as they can connect within so many feet.
300 feet.
Yeah, and then if they can connect, then they have to do sewer. You don't have a choice. And so it just depends on where your new development is and where it is according to the lines that were already established.
Okay, and then on that same page, just a little bit lower, it says there are approximately 100 sewer connections. We have 127. I mean, that's kind of different than
That's
100.
close.
Yeah, I just will update it.
Maybe we ought to be more generous though for the ones that we know are going to go on.
True, yeah.
How about that?
Okay, and then on the next page, page 98, under internet service, it says that we have Utopia Fiber, CenturyLink, and Beehive Broadband. Do we have those? I haven't heard of them.
I think they're part of Utopia. They're one of the choices.
CenturyLink is not one of the choices for
Oh.
Utopia, and I don't think Beehive Broadband is
They,
either.
I think they're not,
They're an ISP or,
No, it's actually because one of their receivers is on Jimmy DeGraff and Reed's house.
Oh, so,
Oh, so it might be the,
So it's
satellite.
satellite.
Yeah, like what
Okay.
we used to kind of had to do before it was in the ground, so.
okay. What else did I have here? Going through lots of pages, no circles.
I can't find
Maybe that's it.
mine.
Okay, that's all I have. Oh, I do have one more thing. On page 99, 3 little paragraphs above that picture of the snowplow, says GPS tracking. I don't know, we don't have that, and I'd hate for, I don't know.
Oh, for the snowplows?
If it's-
We did
yeah.
have it.
But we don't now.
We don't
We have no
currently have
plans
it.
for it.
Did
and
you
I-
talk to Ted about that?
I
Because he
wonder
would be the
if-
one that would know, but
If we should not have that because people will say, I want GPS tracking and we don't have it. I mean, maybe someday we'll get it. Should
because we
leave it
used to
in
have it when they had
case?
their, and I think the city still can track them where they're at in the city themselves. We just don't, it's just not public.
Well, but it didn't work very well. I asked Jody about it and she said that just cell phone is a lot easier and
Yeah,
I don't know.
If we don't have it, it shouldn't be there.
We had it for one season, I think, and it didn't work very well. And now cell phones are invented.
I would just say take out. Do you just want to take out the entire GPS tracking?
Yeah, because then some lady
Daniel, do you think
wants
that
to-
language came from Ted?
I don't know.
yeah, just double check with Ted on that
ask him.
because
Maybe he has a plan for it and I don't
he
know.
may. We joke around because he's always saying at council, whenever he comes to the front, we say, okay, what are you asking for now? And,
Okay, and that's all I have.
Okay.
Good. Question? Have any of the changes that I requested, have any of them been made?
Quite a few of the additions of wording and things like that. Because changing a goal would require me going back to the council and saying, you guys voted for this, and I would need to discuss that as a council. So if it was a goal issue, it hasn't been changed, but if it's, a lot of this was wording and things like that, so a lot of those changes have been made.
Did you give that to Wayne? Okay.
Yeah, Wayne, he received the email.
Okay.
All right, let's see here. I'm only gonna address certain of these. I know, Wayne, you brought up the TDR part. Feeling like it's just not something that the planning commission or the council will be interested in.
Which part? I'm sorry.
The TDR, which is like where you could put more density in one area in order to preserve an open space.
okay.
And it's kind of a newer idea that's come through the state. The intention was to include it in there as like an awareness and an option, not as something that's code necessarily or has to be something the city does. But again, that's just something that when it gets to your committee, you're welcome to make that edit out.
Okay.
But just so you know where we were coming from, it was more like informational because we had so many residents that were like begging us to try to find something to preserve, particularly where the migration comes through. And we just don't have a lot of options to answer their questions. So that was kind of one of those, but that's up to you guys. Page 40, I know there's a lot of talk about the dark skies. There was a paragraph that you had suggested potentially keeping in there if we remove the entire dark sky
There's parts
elements.
of paragraphs.
Yeah, so I'm trying to
And the
figure out what
council
that
will
looked
look at this
like.
pretty intensely because we've already been talking about it a lot on what does it mean? Are we actually going to do dark sky international guidelines or dark sky in more of a high range philosophy?
Right.
And so there's a couple of different things that are in place with that. But no decision has been made. We've had some presentations, but, and people are doing their own investigation and looking at other cities, talking with other cities, et cetera. But until it gets to us, we're not going to weigh in on it.
Chloe, she had some work issues with the AWS shutdown, but she just said, including dark sky language in the general plan positions us as a forward-thinking community that protects property values and preserves our mountain character, something both potential buyers and current residents care about. It costs current residents nothing since all existing lighting is grandfathered in, and it adds political and financial upside by aligning us with potential grant eligibility, aesthetic appeal, and homeowner market demand for more nature immersive towns. She wanted that shared on record, so I am sharing it on record. I don't know the validity of everything that she was saying, but we will need to decide if, as a committee, we want to move forward a version with or without dark sky. Do we want to maybe just keep a paragraph in there about maintaining a quality of life and encouraging people to consider, you know?
I think the council is expecting you to be saying something about it, like I said before, not necessarily this is an
Right.
ordinance that we need, but because it was on the survey that was shared with us about different residents on what they thought, I mean, I don't get a vote, but I think that they're expecting it.
Yeah.
Some are not.
Right, but we've kind of talked about it and expecting that it would be there so that we can continue the conversation, because if it's taken out, we won't even have the conversation.
Well, you
But
could.
it's something to be able to say, oh, this is how many of our residents felt this way because it was part of the survey. Now, what does that mean to the city overall when we look at the broad span of it? Is it something we really want to do? It's hard. Right now, it's hard to say, but at least it opens up to having the discussion.
Can you,
My concern, I think, was that looking at the international requirements for dark skies, they were so restricted.
yeah,
I mean, I've got little tiny fairy lights along my driveway and they would be outlawed
Right.
and they don't even show a shadow on the driveway.
And I think that's what the council, as we've talked about it, is, you know, there's that extreme of what
Right.
Dark Sky International is, and then what people think dark sky means. And is there something that is like a noise ordinance that's just a lighting ordinance, right? Which is different than what Dark Sky International
Right.
says. So I think defining and then also expectations of what our citizens are saying when in there lends itself to then a future discussion. But I don't think that most people would want to go full on
I agree.
Dark Sky International. But I do think they want to maintain the
Some do,
mountain.
most
Yeah,
probably
you
not. There's a
Yeah.
few that I think feel strongly about it, and I think there's more that maybe don't want more rules.
Right. More of a,
And I totally get that.
just maintain.
Dark enough.
Yeah.
Right.
Why do you feel that it needs to be in the general plan in order for the council to have a discussion about it towards potentially an ordinance?
I mean, the council can say, why didn't you address dark skies? Let's talk about it.
Yeah, we could do that. I mean, I guess it's just because we've had the survey results, we've had everything else, and it would say, well, if citizens wanted that, why didn't you include it in? Right? I think that would be just a logical thing based on the survey results, because you sent them to us a long time ago. And so we're gonna probably be looking at all of the survey results and saying, okay, what did people say they liked? What did they say they didn't like? And how is that being addressed in the different perspectives?
Can we do, it sounds like we actually are all kind of saying the same thing. So could we keep the survey results in there? And just, I mean, Wayne, you said it just here. Can we have a night skies focused wording? A lot of that actually is, I think, on point with that, without suggesting to put in ordinance that it has to be international dark sky, that it has to, like, the residents want darker night skies for their quality of life and that's it. Then we have to have more restrictive
I like that.
language in there. Daniel?
Yeah, so I attended the council meeting a handful of months ago. Sherry Berger invited me from the PTR committee, and we asked the council for their guidance, and council said they would like to see it in the general plan, and because of that, I moved forward with putting it in the general plan. Now, just a second, Wayne. So what I was going to say is, this committee, make your recommendation. If you guys say we don't want to see it in there, that's great. We'll forward that recommendation. Planning Commission can forward their recommendation. I'll provide this to council and say, here's your draft, council, if you want it. Community Development Committee said no, or whatever it is. Planning Commission said no, or whatever it is. Council makes their decision. So I don't think you need to worry about what you think council wants. Do what you guys want. If you want it in there, do it. If you don't want it in there, don't put it in there. That's my 2 cents.
Daniel, did I understand you right, that saying that you're gonna present it anyway the way you want and not the way the council or the committee would want it?
I'll let council have a draft that says, council, you told me you want something in there. Here's a version for you, but I will present the version, like the official version that goes to council will be the version that Planning Commission recommends. But I will also let the council have a copy of the version that this committee recommends, right? But the main version that will go to council, the recommended version that goes to council, will be Planning Commission's version, whatever that is, right? Does that make sense?
But we may not include it, so
Right.
neither version might have it.
That's correct. Yeah, that's correct. But council has told me that they want to see it. So I'll say, council, if you want a copy of it, I'll provide it to you. But the recommended versions are the Planning Commission's version. That's like version 1, right? That's like the main version that gets recommended to them. But I'm not going to hide things from them, right? So if it changes a lot from your committee to Planning Commission, council can still have access to the version that you put forward. And the council has told me that they want to see this. So if they want to see it, I will provide them a copy of it, but it won't be the recommended version. Does that make sense?
So I guess in the process, we're providing our vote, Planning Commission's providing their vote. So you're suggesting that when it gets to the city council part of this process, if they request seeing some of this information that maybe wasn't included from these committees, we will provide it. That's
Correct.
what you're suggesting.
That's what I'm saying. So if you're only doing it because you think council wants it, not because you want it, make sure that the version that you recommend is the version that your committee recommends. Don't try to speculate what you think someone else wants, right? Because I can still provide this for them. Does that's what I'm trying to say.
Right.
Yeah.
That if they decide that they want to pursue this with or without it in the general plan, you have that information.
Or if they want this to be in the general plan, I can say, oh, well, there was a prior version. Here's a copy. Council, have fun, right? Give me your edits if they want it.
Well, thoughts?
Just your vote, you're right. I agree that it just, I guess because we've talked about it so much, it just
I know we have.
assumes to me that it would be part of it. But if you vote as a committee not to have it, then we can request the information, the base
think
information.
We should applaud the plan as it is, our code as it is now as far as lighting, because we have dark skies. I think they're dark enough. I don't think we should have more restrictions. I don't think we should refer to it as dark skies. I like night skies, like you said. Something about reducing lighting or, the shades aimed down, but I think we are good. And I don't think we should be pushing dark skies.
It's kind of like saying, hand me a tissue or hand me a Kleenex, Yes. And Dark Skies is a brand.
Daniel,
we
can you
don't
go
need a
down?
brand.
Either one.
Can
Sorry.
you go down to the next page? Because I don't necessarily have a problem with the wording on that page. And it doesn't refer to dark skies, it just talks
Just right there
about
at
the
the very
city and the light and just kind of the survey results. It doesn't necessarily make any recommendations or anything that I can see, which we can read that over
Just the
again.
little logo right there.
So now I want to look at this page. So the city has an outdoor lighting ordinance. It's currently considering amendments to it. So maybe we take that out. I don't know. The council has expressed interest in exploring, so maybe this is the part that we don't include. Through the International Dark Skies Association, talks about the application, it talks about dark sky. So page 41. Do we consider removing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Scrolling down. That's the goal, which the goal for this,
Is
for
D.
that,
D, right there.
Yeah, D.
encourage residents to use dark sky compliant fixtures for exterior lighting. Is that suggesting different? Because I think it sounds like we already have some lighting ordinances.
We do.
Do we change that from dark sky to
Night
light
sky.
ordinances? Residents to use compliant, whatever, I don't know how it's
What's it
worded
currently?
above.
How's it
Educate
currently worded?
Went with the city lighting ordinance.
city lighting ordinance.
Yeah,
Educate residents on the benefits of shielding lights and reducing color temperature of outdoor lighting. Do we take that out? I don't think the city plans on educating anybody on,
I don't think so. I think we take that out.
okay, goal 2D. Review the city's lighting standards, especially for new developments to reduce light pollution.
I think that's good.
That's
I
good.
think that's a nice thing just to consider.
Yeah.
I would assume number 4
It's
came
not
from
telling them what
PG
to do, it's
Parks
just,
and Trails.
How do you do that?
review the city's lighting standards.
To encourage, how do you encourage the residents? At what point and under what circumstances do you encourage residents to do what it says there?
Well, it's saying for new developments, so I think it's saying when you're looking at approving new developments, you know, is there going to be big
Is there new lighting
sport
standards?
courts with lighting and, you know, I think it just gives you guys the ability, or
Developments.
both the planning
don't do
commission
that.
and the city
When
council.
when a development
street
is going
lights.
on, that's not part of the discussion at all.
No
not
lighting
putting
is
lighting in.
discussed.
The developer is not doing that.
Well, then there you go.
Yeah.
We don't have.
That's part of a
streetlights.
new development that, I mean, I think that falls under that, no?
For sport courts, it would fall into when we
That was
have
an
a site
example,
plan.
but
Yeah,
But when
or
we do a
pickleball courts or
development,
whatever.
we don't allow streetlights, and so when the engineer goes through it, if they would propose streetlights, we'd be like, that's against our city code.
So
We
it's
don't get
already there.
streetlights.
so I feel like, I feel like that's saying what we're already doing, but it sounds
Yeah.
like you guys disagree with that. So
No, I agree.
review the city's lighting standards, especially for new developments, to reduce light pollution.
Maybe we get our
Or
first
do we
commercial,
say
and then we need to
Uh-huh.
review it.
review?
Yeah.
Or if a new development comes in with the HOA that wants to put in a whole bunch of pickleball courts and keep up the lights on all night and all of that.
Yes, go for it.
Well, if it's just their development though, if it's only for their HOA, then we don't want it, right? I mean, we don't, because then the rest of us can't use it. But it would lend itself to saying, in reducing the light pollution here, that's again, another general comment that if it came out in a development agreement, we could say, you know, this is one of our general things. How are you going to limit when you have these sport courts or the pickleball courts or whatever in your HOA development? Like, if we get another Summit Creek, right?
And remember, what's one thing that they wanted for the city park?
Pickleball.
Pickleball courts. The other concern I have is that these 5 lighting principles, the last one says warm colored.
I think
Now,
that's going,
the engineer
yeah, that's
he
scratched.
tells me that the white lights are more energy efficient than the warm lights are. And so when we're saying have warm colored lights, we're saying we're gonna raise the energy costs in the community.
I think we've already decided page 41's gone,
Okay,
which is included in that, but I appreciate the comment.
Summit Creek's pickleball court, we talked about lighting and told them there couldn't be any.
There's no lighting on
Will
it?
you scroll back down when you're done, Daniel?
Yeah.
Review the city's lighting standards, especially for new development. Can we just say that, especially for new developments, period? I just, maybe that to reduce light pollution makes it feel like they have to try to do more, which maybe isn't the intention. It's just
I think developers are already starting to do
keeping
that more
it
and more.
in.
It just keeps them in check for
It's just an
themselves.
awareness that our city likes our night skies. Consider pursuing designation as a dark sky community, so that's gonna go. Number 4. Reinforce rural identity by limiting light pollution.
That makes sense.
Do we, I
A
mean.
lot- that
does
means
feel
no-
like it aligns with what
No
we-
streetlights, basically. That just adds to what we already have in our ordinance.
Is it too vague though? Do we just refer back to the ordinance that's already in place or just remove that? If there's already an ordinance in place?
Let's remove it. That's actually a copy of the title.
Okay.
So we'll remove that.
Encourage residents to use dark sky compliant fixtures for exterior lighting, so we'll remove number 6.
Remove number 6. Is that what you said?
Yeah, because we already kind of said number 1. That they
Oh,
should be
yeah.
using.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, wow. 5 and 6 are copies of D and 1. That is
Perfect.
good. Yeah.
2 really addresses the color too.
Color temperature, yeah.
What did we say? We're removing 2. That one's already gonna go.
So what do we have left in D?
Well, what we left in D is 1, encourage residents to use lighting ordinance compliant, city lighting ordinance compliant fixtures for exterior lighting. We're removing 2. Number 3 will say review the city's lighting standards, especially for new developments.
4 is gone.
4 is gone, 5 is gone, 6 is gone, so there'll just be 2.
Gotta leave in 10 minutes.
Okay, well,
Oh, yeah, and then meet the candidate thing is starting right now at Summit Creek. So we better get going.
there's a lot of wording changes that Daniel's already been working on. Guys, I hate to do this. I don't know if we can do a final vote with how many changes we've made tonight.
Need to review it again?
Oh, it
We call
would
the edits,
really,
review it again.
yeah, look over these goals, and suggestions and wording changes. And let's try to have a commented final document so that it can, we're not here for another 2 hours. next
Yeah.
time.
Is it legal for us to share a document online and make put little questions and things and interact during the month with each other?
Like that, it doesn't have to be recorded or whatnot.
Yeah, is
Yeah,
that,
I think you can make
Can you do that?
suggestions.
Daniel, can you share a document with us that we could put little bubbles in? What about that? I want to change this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
similar to what you're doing right now.
Yeah, you can go on the PDF and add that. Just under
And
comment.
if you don't want to figure that
Let me know.
out, just
Boom.
send your suggestions
Okay,
and
like this, okay.
he can add them in or something,
Okay.
or we can just review them in the meeting and then whatever. But as long as he can
Because
see
if
those
somebody
suggestions.
says, let's change this, and everybody says, yes, yes, yes. We don't
And
need to
Daniel,
spend
can you
10
send us
minutes.
I see what you're saying. Yes. great.
After these
Right.
changes are put
Gotta be
in, can you
careful.
send us both part 1 and part 2 of all of the whole thing so that we have that? Part 1 and 2 with the changes so that we can better see it. And if you would like the hard copy, would it be possible, Jody, to have a hard copy printed here at the city, or is that too much of an
A
expense?
lot of
It's
pages.
a lot of pages.
Not at the moment, because we actually have a printer that's gotta have a brand new part put in it.
We're having issues with our,
So we are trying.
So it's harder to mark up when it's this way.
It is, so I mean, I could take it down to J Mart and have them print it. We're probably looking at a quarter a page, cause it's in color, so, you're looking at probably $30 a book.
Can
Yeah.
Daniel do that as part of their cost?
Yeah,
I think we don't want to take away from what what the,
That
what the
should be part of
grant
the
is,
cost, they're
right?
supposed to provide us one.
unless we get to
Where's the
the,
final
until we get the
one?
final version that
Copies
we're
and
going to
copies and
send.
copies and copies.
Yeah, we don't wanna keep making too many copies because it's
Yeah.
included in the price to the finals of what's sent in the RFP. We have that in place, but not at this stage. So I guess either print it out yourself but I just find it harder to mark up online than it is when you have a hard copy.
Yeah.
No, and I understand that, but I think we can handle the electronic file.
Yeah.
And just make notes and put those in an email if we're not computer savvy enough to do what Daniel does.
Well, I think today I was editing it and then it said I couldn't save it because someone else was on there.
Oh,
So I saved my own copy and then edited that.
I think it works if it's okay with you, Daniel, that if they have questions or suggestions that they send them to everyone, but then you can add that bubble for us to review as a
Yeah.
committee. There's quite a few in there already. If you all can make a point to review those. Daniel, if you wouldn't mind resending, maybe it's live, I don't know, but
That's
like the most
live.
recent option or
It's
version.
everything he's adding's here.
Okay, go ahead, Daniel.
No, I don't think it's live, but I will make all these changes first, and then in the next couple of days, send you an updated document. That way you have a clean copy you're working on. Otherwise, your suggested edits may get lost in all of the edits we already have on the document, right?
I think that's a good
Perfect.
idea, Daniel. Thank you.
Mhm.
Great. Okay. All right, next meeting. I'm not gonna say the last Monday because that's Thanksgiving week. So I can't do it. Well,
Monday before Thanksgiving?
could we do the 17th?
I
City,
can.
5 PM, 17th? Does that tentatively work, at least for this group, and then if any additional, great. Okay. All right, I motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second that.
Do we have a vote? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, it is 6:38.
I gotta go.